I'm Air Vice Marshal Peter Millar, retired from the Royal Air Force. I joined straight from school when I was 18 and then served until I was well in my 50s, 37 years. I was a pilot most of that time and then a senior commander and staff officer. When I retired, we'd never bought a house and we came to Hove to live alongside my in-laws. My father-in-law was the group captain. He'd been involved with All Saints Church and I've carried on that role. I'm now a Churchwarden here and look after quite a bit of the things we do, including, interesting enough, on Remembrance Sunday. Brighton and Hove have a number of ceremonies and we have one at the Hove War Memorial which we, All Saints, organise, followed by a civic service with the Lord Lieutenant and the Mayor here in the church. So Remembrance for All Saints is a very specific event. Remembrance Sunday has been an interesting time. The last few years it's really picked up after all the operations the military have been involved in all over the globe in the last 15 years. Before that it seemed to be rather quieter, but in my own life I was a cadet when at school and we marked Remembrance Sunday. All through my service career it's always been part of what stations in the RAF do and the squadrons do. But it reflects, in my case, I didn't do any fighting. There was the Cold War was on, so we were just getting ready for it. So I don't have the real experience of combat. But in military service, the history of your service, your regiment, your squadron is fundamentally important, and you learn about that right from the beginning, and it becomes that inner thread of morale working together and of your history. So you're always remembering backwards to some degree all the things that are important. You might not have known anyone who was killed in the war, but it's part of your life right through. And throughout the services, there's always a religious element to life, not necessarily a big one, but when there are operations in warfare, very important. And every regiment will have a padre, every station that I was serving in, you'd have one or two or three padres of different denominations. And the stations and the squadrons would celebrate Remembrance Sunday. And also, of course, depending on their service, a regiment in the army would have particular battle days they remember. In the Royal Air Force it was Battle of Britain Sunday, it was always an important memorial. And this thread goes right through your service, however long. If you serve for a few years you're like a young airman, or for a long time like I did. And it's a part of the togetherness, the morale of service, knowing its history, knowing you're part of that, knowing you will be leaving something of yourself at the end of your service through all your colleagues.